Special level 2 member request here. Thank you very much for that. And with this one, we're going to be in a standard tuning, EAD, GBE. And at some parts most of the song, there's two different guitars going on. They kind of get a little more distinct and different, like during the intro and verses. We'll get a little bit just closer to the same thing at different parts, but I'll try to show you like the two different things happening at the real obvious parts. So for the intro, this would be one of them. The first guitar starts off by just doing some single string notes here, and we start here, and it's all kind of based around like this F sharp minor vibe. We'll start at the 4s here on the D, and we just hit those out, about 5 of them. All right, and then to 2, 4 on the A. Kind of hold that just a moment. 3 more, 5, 4 to open A. Hold that just a moment. 1 more. Okay, hold that slightly, and then open 4A to 2. Okay, so alright, so that's what the first guitar is doing. The second guitar will come over and just kind of start with like just the higher octave of what's going on there. Be down here on like the high E string, B string. So we just hit the 2s, and it's that same kind of feel and picking. Open, then to 2B. Hold that just a moment. A few more. 3, 2 to 2G. And then here it varies a little differently, where we go 2 on the high E, and then just hit the bottom part of this F sharp minor, the 2 on the G, B, and E. Okay, so just kind of a little different thing happening there. And then once the verse gets going, the first guitar I'll be continuing on its little kind of single string riff, but the second guitar just kind of picks through this F sharp minor a little bit. And then we'll do this where we'll hit the 5th there at the 4th fret on the A. And it's almost like it waits a beat, and then it starts into this, where you'll hit the 4A, then go 2B, 2G. And just hold that for a little bit, pick through it again, and then just hit the 2s on the G, B, and E. And you just kind of repeat that whole process there for the verse. And then next section, I guess you would call this the chorus. Some kind of interesting stuff going on here. Starts with just hitting the bottom half of the F sharp minor, so do like the 4D, 2 on the G, B, and E. And then you want to do this bend that happens where you can take that 4D and just make it the 4G, hit that with the 2 on the B and E under it. Just bend it, full step there till you get kind of that same, that same 2 on the B there, so just bending till you hit that note. And you just keep it bent, and then you can strum on it a couple more times. And then you can release it, go back to the 4 on the D with the 2s on the G, B, and E. Okay, something like that. And then this next chord's a little funky. The best voicing of it I could find, because it has a D and an E in it, and then you hear, a lot of those F sharp minor notes, so I feel like the best way to do it is just come up here, you hit the 7A, and then just keep the open D. So we're kind of arched a little bit so we can get that to ring out. And then you want the 7G, 7B. Kind of an interesting chord there, because the overall bass is doing a D note, so you kind of want to include that in there. If that's too much of a hassle, if you have someone doing bass for you, you don't have to worry about the D note, and you can just kind of hit like, the E, and then the 7G, 7B there. But if you can, hit the 7, open D, 7G, 7B there. And it's like, you strum it, a little hesitation, couple more. And then you want to make that 7G there, a 6. Okay, so it kind of goes from like a D with an E bass note to a D major 7 with the E bass note. Alright, and then we just do this little single line run where it goes A, B to A. So just come up here and we go 5 on the low E, come up to about let's see, 4 sevens, and then back to a couple fives, something like that, and you just repeat that whole thing. Alright, and eventually we'll get to a post-chorus section, and this is kind of like a descending kind of chord picking thing with some same notes in it, but it goes from like a D major 7, B minor 7, sus2 to F sharp minor. But pretty simple chords really. It's just kind of the open D and then 2s on the G, B, and E. And then we do this little picking where we kind of hit these notes after each chord where we go 2G, 3B, then hold that just a moment, come off to 2B, 2G. Okay, so we went. Then we want the B minor 7 sus2, which is basically just make a B power chord, the 2A, 4D, and then we want to bar the 2s on the G, B, and E. Alright, and we pick those same notes, the 2G, 3B, 2B, 2G. And then we just end up at our F sharp minor, so bar all the 2s, got the 4 on the A and D, and then pick the same thing, the 2G, 3B, 2B, 2G. And then we add this little bit at the end, 2 on the high E, 3B, 2B. Okay, so slowly. Alright. And then we just have a little interlude section that happens after those 3 different patterns where you just do like an upward arpeggiated, just kind of quick F sharp minor, so just bar the 2s with the 4 on the A and D and just pick it from the high string up. And you do that like a few times, and then you can just kind of hit the F sharp bass note at the 2E. Alright, and other than that, the whole thing would kind of repeat, and then we get to our outro section, which kind of starts as like a single string notes, and then it'll get more just kind of like big chords going with it. So we start here just at the 2nd on the E, and you pick this out probably like 16 times, something like that. Alright, come up to 5s for about 8, 4 7s, and then I drop down to the A where I go a couple 5s, couple 4s. Alright, and it'll repeat like that a couple times, and then eventually we just kind of like make big chords out of it, so just hit the F sharp minor, just bar the 2s, 4 on the A and D, and then you can just strum that out. Alright, and then basically we just want to include different bass notes, but keep all that 2 on the G, B, and E going. So we want an A bass note now, so just hit the open A, and then you can just do 2s on the D, G, B, E. So it's like an A6, and it's just kind of like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then switch to the B minor 7 sus2, so that B power chord with the 2s on the G, B, and E there. Same kind of deal, hit about 4 of them. And then hit the open D with the 2s on the G, B, and E for a couple. And then you can just throw in the 4 on the A, and the D can just kind of get muted, not big a deal. It just, if your finger kind of touches it and keeps it quiet, that's fine. And just hit a couple of those with the 2s on the G, B, and E too. Alright, those are all the sections, and basically it's just kind of a loop of the first handful there, and then you get the outro section. After that, you should be all set.